Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I am your host, GameChanger. All right. Seen a video, wanted to share it with y'all. Well, I actually didn't see it. I seen like maybe 10 seconds of it, but I seen a video topic and I was like, okay, wonder what this person has to say about generational wealth. Now, when people talk about Black generational wealth, it's to me a joking it's a joking matter because Black people are a group of people that talk about generational wealth without having any damn generations. It's weird. We don't have generations. Now, what's a generation? What do you need for a generation? What's up? You need non, you need a high BBR. Now, what's a BBR? Or, excuse me, NBR. My mistake. One last time. See, when you coin something, sometimes you get it wrong, especially when it's an acronym. NBBR, non-bastard birth rate. You need a high non-bastard birth rate. Without that, there's nothing. There is no generational wealth because there's no generation. What is a man going to do? Pass wealth down to his stepkids? Is that generational wealth? Like, it's typically women like in their mid 30s to mid 40s that say stuff like, oh, yes, you need to generational wealth. You need to keep it in the community, blah, blah, blah. Generational wealth. It's like, you're not giving that man no kids. You are not giving that man, well, you have 4.5 eggs left. You are not giving that man no kids. Talking about generational wealth. What you mean by generational wealth is when he goes to the upper room, you're saying that he should give it to you. That's generational wealth. Wealth within the same generation is generational wealth. That's not generational wealth. Setting his natural born kids, his true, NBBR kids, his true born kids is generational wealth. Everything else you are talking about is foolishness. It's a scam. It's a hustle. Because when the women say that, they're not looking at giving the money to the kids. That's out the question. They're looking at giving the money to them so they could give the money to Birkin. That's the true loss that they see when they see interracial dating, marriage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not about the kids. Oh, and we are going to get on Dr. Umar. All these years talking about generational wealth, and then look at his daughter. Just saying. Just saying. What is he going to pass down, and to whom is he going to pass it down to? Just saying, we are definitely going to get into it because I'm sick of the scams. They are still selling Heathcliff Huxtable and Claire Huxtable dreams to you while acting like Cookie from Empire. We will not fall for it any longer. The hoodwink, the bamboozle. Listen, for those who have healthy Black families, that is great. But that is becoming an increasing anomaly. In fact, that brings me to the short of the day. Go ahead and put your comments below so I can read them before I start the main subject matter. That brings me to the short of the day when we talk about hustle. Because, understand this. We, as Black Americans, have created a hustle culture. We think hustle is a good thing. Like, oh yeah, my dude is a scammer. I'm a hustler, baby. I'm a hustler. It's like, okay, you're not going to get anywhere if you have a bunch of people going around hustling each other. The ethnic, first of all, the stupidest thing in the world is to normalize being a hustler as a part of your culture, because you need a certain amount of trust in dealing with people before you can hustle them. So you don't want to go around advertising it, but a lot of brothers and sisters are, what's the word I'm looking for? Stupid. They're very stupid. But since the entire endeavor is for attention, and not really the gains from it, they're going to be all over the place with it. Nevertheless, this is another hustle when it comes to relationships. Oh, by the way, when it comes to we're proficient at relationship hustles, more so any other group of people that I am aware of. Well, I mean, the other groups of people that I am aware of that does it are also Black. So, they just may not be African American. Hit that like button. We're going to get into it. All right. I see we got Scott, Blue. Oh, haven't seen you in a while, Blue. I appreciate you. Snazzy and Ray. All right. So, all right. And okay, so I don't like the background music on this, so we're just going to read it. But basically, it says for 5 years, she paid all the bills while she saved her money. And she did this. All right, so we could read it, but the title pretty much says it all. She apparently she owns whatever is being constructed here. It looks like an apartment building of some sort. And that's what she's been doing with the money that she's been saving while being in this relationship and not having to pay for anything. So when they say, oh, no, I want a traditional relationship, which means that you pay 100% of the bills. It's like, okay, but over 5 years, and let's just say she makes like 100K. And she keeps low living expenses. So she keeps her living expenses to about 24K, meaning that the allowance she gives herself is $2,000 a month. That's for hair, makeup, and all the et cetera, all the essentials, right? In fact, he probably pays that. So forget that. Let's just take that out the equation, right? So she don't have to pay anything. And then after 5 years, she got 500K. Like in the pocket, in the purse. And then now, after watching this, you can, in my opinion, it's scripted, because, well, for one, it's like, okay, we're about to have an argument. Turn on your camera. And then they do it at the construction site. And there were some instances where he said, we've been together 3 years, but the thing said 5 years. So it seems scripted, but it brings up a valid point. When they say, I want a traditional relationship, it's like, okay, well, you got to give up that job. You better sell some Tupperware or some Amway or something like that. But, you having like a full-time job is not traditional. Like, I'm paying you to work somewhere else. So, and that's why 50-50 exists. All right. Let's see. So, yeah. All right. Now, this is short of the day. Let's get into the comments and then we will get into the main event. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. And then I'm going to go, if I have some time, I'm going to go over some of the Umar stuff. Because that Negro deserves criticism. All right. So, what up, GC? What up, Scott? Blue with the eyes. Appreciate you. Let's see. I've been focusing on generational wealth, but it is not much of a concern for my wife. It never really is. Because the way it works is just like you pass your name down to your son, you pass the wealth down to him. I mean, it's a daughter's duty, and it's really a woman's primary duty to seduce a man. Put it like this. If you pass all your wealth down to your daughter, you won't have any grandkids because she'll be too good for any other man's wealth. And if your son is broke, you won't have any grandkids from him either. So it's better to pass it down to the son. That way he's a wealthy, viable candidate, and she will see gains from getting with a man who himself is wealthy. That's how that works. Snazzy, what's good? What's good? Ray says that's because women nest. They work with what they have. Men have ambition to explore and take risk. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Congratulations, you are not talking about fat people. I'm proud of you. That was very condescending, but you definitely are sensitive about fat people. I noticed you didn't say fat women. All right. It says I have to put all assets into a trust to protect my kids and grandkids' inheritance. Yeah, as you should. As you should. I'm not saying that it's a scam. I'm just saying that the way it's presented for a relationship lure, especially a same racial relationship lure, is the scam, in my opinion. Paying all the bills is something we talk about at the table in marriage. Never pay all the bills in a relationship. I would never say never. I mean, but if a woman is working, you got to ask, where is the money going? Like that would be the number one question. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I understand people have like sugar baby relationships, that those exist, and but at least the guy is aware of it, so you don't get caught off guard like the guy in the skit where it's like, oh, 5 years and you saved up to buy an apartment building. And it's like, because then your perspective is, okay, I paid you for your services for 5 years, and you used the money I paid you to purchase this apartment building. That's a completely different thing because he was investing in a future for them that didn't mature. That's the difference. But thanks a lot for your comment. Okay. I saw the generational wealth vids this morning and thought Grandma Four got two. Tell her about Granddad's life insurance, SS pension, and bank accounts. Of course, it's a hard two to do alone. Wait, Grandma Four. Oh, Grandma forgot. Okay, just use the whole words. It's not a super chat. Use the whole word because I'm thinking like a grandma of four or what. Okay, so now let me reread it. Okay, I saw the generational wealth vid this morning and thought Grandma forgot to tell her about Granddad's life insurance. Okay, SS, so Social Security, pension, and bank account and bank stock account. Okay, of course it's hard to do alone. Okay, all right, appreciate you, bro. LOL, it's scripted. It's nothing but hardships, scam dealing with these types of women. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is the byproduct of having what's called a hustle culture, which is, the unfortunate culture that we live in. So, for example, you don't want to have that reputation. I remember I had a friend from Cameroon who's the brother-in-law of my ex, and he was telling me about a mechanic. I was looking for a mechanic for some reason. And he gave me this guy's number, and he said something, I'll never forget it. He said, he's Nigerian, but he's cool. So apparently, amongst other Africans, particularly West Africans, Nigerians have a reputation of being scammers, hustlers, and just shiesty business people. I don't do enough business with them to like co-sign. If I felt a group of people was like white mechanics, I'll tell y'all quickly. I don't care, call it stereotyping or what. Like, your reputation precedes you. Your ethnic reputation precedes you. And yeah, so I'm like, okay, they've earned a reputation of bad business dealings, and so have black people, and we tout it and put it in music due to a process that I call stupidity. Now, moving on to the main topic. Well, oh wait, got one more. Let's see. If y'all not married, neither one of you have the obligation to return on an investment. I disagree. But okay. Respectfully disagree. All right. So, I only watched like 15, 20 seconds of her video. In that time, I don't know if she is FBA or whatnot. It really doesn't matter, except to this. I noticed that I've been getting a lot of like African and Caribbean women in my feed, and I've been covering them. And I don't know if it's because, the algorithm think that that's what I want because I listen to Chantel and she's Jamaican, but yeah, I just noticed that. Or maybe the algorithm just realized that I don't really care what Keisha has to say. Maybe that's it. But we'll see. Y'all be the judge. Tell me.
Plan, pool your resources, make sure you're owning it. Ownership, ownership, ownership. We get it, right? There's so much about that that has been very helpful throughout the Black community, especially for the last like 5 to 6 years. But the thing is, if we were truly owning land and owning property like we say we are, we would have more property as a collective, right? We can look these things up, and we're still lagging behind every other race. So my next question is, how helpful is it for us to continue to push the narrative of purchasing land and pushing property? Now, don't get it twisted. I think that there's value in that, but I feel like buying land and ownership is a natural consequence of a cohesive, ethnic, thriving group. And by that, I mean, how are we, just think about it, like, how are we going to own all of our land? Let's say we have a hypothetical community of 100 people. How are 100% of those people going to own land if most of them aren't even making enough money to purchase the land, right? But let's say they were making all that money, and all these 100 people in this community that is impoverished.
Okay, so this is right about the time that I stopped and I was like, okay, this is worth covering. Because she brings up a valid point, and that is, you're not going to have sustained wealth without a functioning community. So she definitely brings up a good point. Right now, it seems, and she probably switches up, but right now it seems like she's talking about like wealth within a generation. So yeah, that might be the case. Like she's not talking about generational wealth, which was be a main problem.
That lack self-love, that has self-hatred tendencies, that aren't being mentally supported, their mental health is lacking, and they're also, a lot of the people in this community of 100 people don't even realize, right? Like, don't even realize what the hell the problem is. So we're giving them money and we're telling them buy land, and that's going to somehow miraculously fix all our problems. And for me personally, I don't think that's the panacea that people are pushing it out to be. And I'm saying that because even if all of us got the money right now to own our own land, own our own schools, own our own this, own our own that, we're still missing that collective sense of community, respect, honor, and allegiance to one another. I feel as though that's a bit too long.
Those two things still don't equal generational wealth. Okay, and I'm hoping that she covers this later, but I don't want this to be about where she's going, because it seems like she's going into a make a better community, and I don't think that she's yet to learn that. And maybe I'm wrong, I haven't watched this video, but maybe down the line she's going to mention it. What a community is a family of families. I'm going to repeat that. A community is a families of families. I hope that she don't make this video. And if she does, I'm gonna reach out to her. But I hope that she don't make this video um, trying to talk about how we can have communities without having families. Because if so, then she has a great point, but it's completely missed. She's basically saying, you can't have generational wealth without healthy communities. But if you don't make the connection to where you can't have healthy communities without families, and really you can't have healthy families without patriarchy, it's lost. Let's see where she's going.
lofty of a goal for where we're at, right? We are not thriving in terms of our mental health, our physical health, our spiritual health, and our health as a collective. There's so much about the Black community where we've kind of got lost and we've kind of forgot about how we naturally are. And we naturally function best in tribes, right? That's just human nature. Even this video I'm making is for people. You're watching it, another person. The music you listen to is put together by another person, right? You might be thinking of a presentation.
Okay. I'm gonna look it up, but I'm almost like I'm like 80% certain that tribes are families. All right, hold on. I'm gonna look up the technical definition. Tribe definition. A social division in a traditional society consisting of families or communities linked by socioeconomic, religious, blood ties, and okay, so yeah, she's missing the family aspect of it. You can't really have tribes. Okay, nothing links you to somebody like family. You could press 1 in the chat room if you want. You could press 1 in the chat room if you have family members that you would not be friends with, but you are family with. You are still linked to this person. I'm not saying that you hate them. They're just not the person that you would have come kick it with you. You know, like if you're an educated lame and you have Pook in your family, y'all probably wouldn't kick it if y'all met each other on the streets. But and you wouldn't hate them, but this person just so happened to be family. So, you know, family brings people together who otherwise wouldn't be together. And because we don't have like together intact families, we have less of a community. That is, you know, so what should we bond with each other on is the question.
You need to put together for tomorrow for your boss. We're such a collective and tribe-like people, and we've always moved that way. And I feel like with capitalism and the individualistic nature of wealth attainment has really run rampant throughout the Black community to where we're neglecting so many of the other more fundamental steps to get there first. And in my mind, I'm not anti purchase your property, own your land, and all that stuff. Absolutely. But my thing is, if we're truly trying to find solutions for us as a whole and really try to remedy some of the issues that we have that's really plaguing our minds, right? Because it's our minds more than anything else. I don't see why purchasing property or how purchasing property is going to fix that. I think the focus should be less on purchasing property and more on gaining respect and gaining back, seeing the humanity in one another. Caring about whether your next door neighbor, who is this old Black woman, whether she ate today, does she have enough sugar in her closet?
Why don't
Does she have? Did she get to her medical appointment? I think.
Okay. If you are an elderly Black woman, and this is, we're seeing more and more of this, and you find yourself alone. You find yourself completely alone collecting Social Security. Now, of course, you know, especially for women, you know, that's even if you do it right, that's almost a destined scenario because women widow at a faster rate than men become widowers. Women live longer. Nevertheless, the women who create large, healthy families don't find themselves in that situation. You know, I mean, yeah, on a random Tuesday on the, you know, they might find themselves, you know, kicking it with their bingo girls, but on a day-to-day, they don't wind up in some Golden Girl situation. On a date, you know, like throughout the years, on their birthday and on Mother's Day, it gets lit for them, you know. And if they had enough kids and grandkids that are healthy, then they always have something going on. Every year, there's a new birthday party, a new wedding, a new graduation party. Every year, one of their grandkids and great grandkids is doing something. Every year, one of their kids and grandkids is doing something to which she's invited to. More than one, really. That's the byproduct of a healthy family. The ones who want to do their hot girl summer, for all of their 20s and 30s and some of their 40s, and then maybe hope to in vitro a kid out of themselves. Of course, because by the time, they have fewer kids, fewer grandkids and stuff like that. So they have created a situation where they're by themselves, hoping that the neighbors have mercy on her oldness. That's where they find themselves. Okay, somebody said something interesting. It says, generational wealth is a selfless act. Being selfish won't build that. It depends. It depends. Because, but by the way, I completely agree with the second part. The first part I agree with a caveat, and that is it's not always a selfless act, especially when it's done in our community. And that's because what we define as generational wealth is, I'm going to leave you with all the stuff that I can't take with me. I'm going to leave you. That's what they consider generational wealth. Like, okay, I bought this for myself. 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 And when I'm gone, you can have it because I'm done using it. That's what they call generational wealth. That's what we call generational wealth. We don't call generational wealth like, okay, this is money I'm going to give you now while I'm alive that I could be spending on myself, but I am investing in you because you are the future of my family. Like, this is, it's like, okay, I'm going to invest in getting you the best tutor so you can get the highest score in your SATs, so you can go to the best university, so you that I will pay for, so you can invest in your in the grandkids and stuff like that. Now that's generational wealth. What we do is we just give them the crap that we're not using anymore. That's if we do that, if we don't reverse mortgage or something, so yeah.
I think we need to start caring more about each other and being that point of contact, like checking in with one another. I think that helps foster that sense of community that we're missing, right? Because forget about what everybody else thinks about us. We know what goes on in our community. Like, we know that and I live in a Black neighborhood, right? And it's mostly older people where I live, but it's a lot of respect here. It's super clean here. People would think, oh, you live in a Black area, I'm sure the roads are dirty, this, that. No, this is probably one of the cleanest neighborhoods I've ever lived in, right? Just because it's a Black neighborhood doesn't make it synonymous with dirty or impoverished or anything of that sort. I felt the safest of anywhere that I lived in New York, in the neighborhood that I live in now. And we know these things about a community, but we also know there are other sides to that. We do know we got Pookie and Ray Ray shooting shit up, right? We do know that we have the YNs nowadays who don't give a damn about whoever. And my thing is, how do we as a collective sell Pookie, Ray Ray, and the YNs on the fact that your mind is impoverished? Your mind is in shackles still. How am I going to tell them to pool their resource? Pookie doesn't give a damn about Ray Ray. Pookie will gun Ray Ray down in an instant if Ray Ray looks at him wrong. So my thing is, like, if we're supposed to really be caring about us as a collective, how can I pull you up by shoving down your throat to purchase property and buy land? And the only reason why I'm making this video on land ownership, property ownership, generational wealth is because I feel like there's a huge narrative around that in the financial and like the thriving Black spaces. And I'm here for it. Anything that gets us together, doing something positive, it's uplifting, and it gives us that sense of community. I'm here for it. I love it. But I think that the problem is a little bit deeper than that. And I feel like, again, like I said earlier, ownership for the average Black person is a little bit too lofty, right? Because again, we're usually not making that. We already know we're not making the proper money to even get that. And sometimes we are also victims
Okay. Oh, she said victim. Um, that doesn't change. And I'm not saying don't be nice to people in your community. I'm not saying that that doesn't make the Black community a more pleasant place. I am saying that that doesn't have anything to do with generational wealth. And it doesn't change. I want to make that clear to you. It doesn't change because of that. Like this whole, being nice to each other is not going to stop Pookie and Ray Ray from going at it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah. And it's not going to change the economic condition of a person. If a person is in an economic state to where they can't afford a home, um, Black people being nicer to one another doesn't change. Not saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that it's the two things aren't intertwined.
Or many times we're victims of redlining, where we'll get higher interest rates, higher everything, just because we're Black, right? But also,
I haven't heard of anything like that since like before I was born, and well before she was born. She's from the looks of her younger than me. So yeah, now we just have like a victim mentality. I don't think she's a homeowner, and not that I can look at somebody and say if they're a homeowner or not, but she mentioned she lived in New York, and I know that that few people own property in New York. I could be wrong. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not.
we can't look at it in such an individual way. If we want to truly own land, and we want to really like own certain neighborhoods, and we own this block, like how other ethnic groups do, as they should. We want to own our blocks. We have to do that as a collective. So how am I gonna get my next door neighbor, the one down the street, as I just sit here and think, the one down the street, there, who's all interested in buying it, but do they trust me? Do we have trust in the neighborhood? Do we have trust amongst one another? Do you look at me as your kin, or am I just that Black girl who makes videos? Am I your sister, or am I somebody you feel like you have to protect yourself from? Am I somebody that you want to help really be in her purpose, or am I somebody that you'd rather support from afar? That's what.
Okay. Am I your sister? No, you're not. You want to know who my sister is? It's my sister. The person that came out the same vagina as my mother and the same penis as my father. You see, there's an actual. This whole brother and sister thing is Black people's way of coping for lack of intact families. I'm not saying we don't have actual brothers and sisters, but I'm saying that our brothers and sisters typically consist of like a bunch of steps, a bunch of halves, a bunch of stuff like that. These are all, none of these are as strong of a connection as the person that you share both parents' DNA with, that you grew up with in the same house. So I could tell you all these step and halves and all that. Once you become an adult, those relationships oftentimes are just over. Like there was that movie, The Blind Side, I think it was, with Sandra Bullock. That weird movie where you had this big football player and who appeared to be slow, but apparently he wasn't in real life, and there was one scene on there where he just walked up to a waiter in the restaurant and started hugging him, and he was like, "That's my brother," because apparently his mother just went around pumping out babies everywhere, and they all wound up in random places, and but he didn't know him. He's like, "I haven't seen him in blah 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 blah," or if he ever seen him. So it's crap like that. It's crap like that. That is a loose connection with someone that you should have a strong connection with. Of course, they had different dads, but so we're already lost in like a very base connection. Exactly. What races do collectives outside of families? I mean, family is one of the many bonds that a community has, but it is the strongest bond. It is the strongest bond by because really every other bond is contingent on something else. Like that's the one bond that's not broken no matter what. But every other bond, including marriage, is contingent on something else. The friendship, oh yeah, you my brother, but let him sleep with your wife. Like, I mean, if your actual brother slept with your wife, you may eventually forgive him, but you won't forgive her. But if a dude that you just call your brother, no. No. I mean, let one of these dudes give you a bad business deal that you call your brother. Let him, you hire him as a plumber or something like that, and he overcharged you, and then you realize that he overcharged you. He's no longer your brother. But your brother is your brother. Your sister is your sister. So we are creating these like optional bonds when we should be focused on creating actual bonds. It says Latino mostly do collectives all the time, but they are different. Well, they're different because they have families. They have large families. Go to a Latino family reunion and you see what I'm talking about. Like that's the strong connections of their communities. Get into a fight with a Latino and then have them say, okay, you may have beaten me today, Vato, but I'm gonna get my cousins. And then 85 other of them of natural born cousins. I'm gonna go get my cousins. All right, oh crap. And then you try to get your cousins and see what happens.
What I'm talking about. And I think that's really the crux of the issues that we face as to why we are not as collective and we don't function really as a proper thriving ethnic group should. Like, look at the Amish. These people, the way that the level of allegiance that they have to one another needs to be studied. The Jewish needs to be studied. And it has nothing to do, like, yeah, there's some about love and all that, but it's not even about love. For me, it's about honor, respect, and allegiance. Your kin comes first. It comes before anything. And if you can't even see the humanity in me, like if I'm struggling with something and my Black brother walks past me with my bags and with all this, and doesn't even blink an eye, bat an eye to try to help me.
Because your husband should be helping you. Your actual brother should be helping you. Your father should be helping you. Hell, even your son should be helping you. Why are you asking for family benefits without generating families? We cannot not have healthy families, but expect everybody else to behave as if they're your family because they share a skin color. It doesn't work that way. She's basically saying, hey, brother, I want you to do for me the same things my actual brother would do.
Or if he's struggling and I don't even try to help him, that's a breakdown within the community. So how am I going to get the trust of him? Or how is he going to get my trust if we can't even have just a regular functioning kind of relationship with one another? So I feel like the shift needs to be on community building rather than just like, oh, purchase property, purchase that. Because like I said, if 100% of all of us, or if all of us get the property today, okay, yeah, I guess our wealth rises, which is great, but it's not just about money, right? Money, we can't just throw money at it and think that that fixes us from the root. We have problems, and it's not just.
Okay, somebody said something interesting. I'm going to respond to this. Shout out to AM1. Says she just want pretty girl treatment. I think it's a little bit okay. So she wants what other people have, what other communities has. which could appear as pretty girl treatment, but it is something about, and if you're old enough, you know what I'm talking about, growing up in a healthy community that she is yearning for, that we all are yearning for. But unfortunately, the women of our community are not going to do what's required of them to make, and this likely includes her. This likely includes her. Listen, if you want to have anything, just like if you want to have a functioning country or nation, you have to pay taxes. You know, you have to give something into it, and you have to give what's needed of you to do it. You have to sacrifice for it. I had this conversation with Courtney Michelle. You know, she talked about how we should have community and community and community. I'm like, what are you willing to sacrifice for it? Huh? Exactly. Exactly. Because they're not willing to sacrifice. What do women have to sacrifice? A number of things. For one, you have to have family. And they'll say, and maybe she'll even say that, oh, yes, I want a family, but I'm just waiting for the right guy that just so happens to be 6'4", and he makes 600K. And it's like, okay. You're not gonna have a community full of just exceptional people. That's not how communities work. It spans throughout. So if you get with a guy that's 6'2", then those 2 inches is what you sacrificed in order to have a functioning community. That's the sacrifice you make. When you get with a guy and you say, something, he's not perfect, but he will make a good father, and I can create a healthy family with this person that snores, that has human faults, then that's a community. When you are bored or jaded in a marriage, but you still stick with it because you are being a part of a community, that is the sacrifice that you make. The melancholy state that you're in is the sacrifice that you make to continue this community. Y'all not willing to make that sacrifice. Exactly. Like when you look at healthy communities, okay, somebody mentioned Mexican. Let's talk about that. Mexican communities comprise of many different types of groups, but I'm going to break them down into two. One who are the newly immigrant, legal or otherwise, population who've come to this country within the last generation themselves, and the rest are the ones who are born here. Oversimplification, I know, but bear with me. The women in both of these communities, right? And I'm talking about the poor ones, the ones with very few funds, but a whole lot of kids. What are they sacrificing? What are they sacrificing? They got 6 kids living in a 2-bedroom apartment. What are they sacrificing? They're sacrificing space. There's work in, actually taking care of these kids. She can't afford the new fancy shoes and stuff like that. Chances are she's working too. She's a what's that called? Housekeeping. She's knocking on the hotel door, even though she sees the do not disturb sign. She's disturbing by knocking on the door, and so she could like refill the toilet paper and pick up used condoms and stuff and throw them away. Like that's what and then she has to go home to a husband, on some 50-50 stuff. That is what she's sacrificing. So yes, on the surface, it seems like a crap existence. However, they have a community and we don't. And it's because of women like them that sacrifice. It's because of the China woman who just so happens to be a doctor, who's married to a doctor, who's raising her kids to be a doctor, and still makes sure that dinner is on the plate. Like, that's her sacrifice. She's not stopping to say what's in it for me, because they're not stupid like that. Like this is the sacrifice that you make to have a community. They look around at their functioning community and say, you know something, my sacrifice was worth it. They don't want to make the sacrifice, but they still want to have the community. And I'm not saying that this woman here, because I'm hoping that that within the 12 some odd minutes that she has remaining on this video, that she mentions the family aspect and what women have to do, to facilitate that. Because you cannot, first of all, she's talking about community. This is supposed to be a generational wealth conversation. So that alone. Anyway, let's continue.
About our wealth. Yes, wealth fixes things, but still we'll have no political power, right? Because usually when we have representation in a political arena, it's, all skin folk and kinfolk kind of situations, right? Which is why I'm a big...
We have way too much quote unquote political power. Like, relative to the population, 13%. Like 100% of the non-white presidents have been us. Like, who's like the leading Latino politician? I mean, come on now. Or who's the leading Asian politician besides Kamala Harris? Anyway, but y'all get my point. Y'all get my point. It's not a matter of politics. Their quality of life is drastically increased because of family.
Big advocate on doing things on a local level. I think that has a greater push than on such a governmental high order level, because there's just so many different barriers put in place specifically for you and me, so that we can't hit a certain level. And you know what? That's okay. I'm not even trying to dismiss.
Nobody's putting that barrier. Nobody's putting the barrier up but you and me. Well, actually, they are putting barriers up now, but prior to that, there wasn't that, and they were able to do that because of, anyway.
Mental that at this point, maybe we should, but my focus is more on what can we do as a community, what can we do as a whole, right? The Amish, they're not going to the government asking about this and that. The Jewish, if something happens to their people, what, they will rally around them like crazy. And
we do too. That doesn't matter. You need intact families, Okay, she mentioned the Amish, and that's the culture I respect the most in the world. And you talk about their intact community, but what do the people have to sacrifice? What do the women have to sacrifice? Oh, that's right. The women have to sacrifice technology. I mean, you talk about the things of other culture without looking at what the women sacrifice. When was the last time you heard an Asian woman say, I want a man that's 6'5"? Or I'm not getting with a man. I'm not starting a family with a man that's not 6'5". When was the last time you heard an Asian woman talk like that? Asia would be empty if the women were that stupid. Same with Latinos. They're not reputedly big people, or tall people, I should say. That's putting your selfish, lustful desire above the needs of the community, which is why we don't have one. Now let's get to the Amish. Like I say, they sacrifice technology for family. I mean, which is a huge sacrifice. Like, we can't get you off the phone for 20 minutes for a date. And you talking about, oh yes, we should still say hello to the no. And yes, God's chosen people, they sacrifice, they sacrifice pork. Like, when was the last time you seen a God chosen woman, um, in an over expensive anything? I'm talking about over expensive purse and over expensive car and over expensive blah 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 blah. When was the last time you heard them say, "I'm looking for somebody 6'4"? If they had like a God's chosen popped a balloon, what do you think they popped the balloon? What do you think that they would pop the balloon on? Like if a regular God's chosen person walked out on the thing, do you think they're gonna pop the balloon and say something like, oh no, he needs a haircut? Well, it's his religion. Not in those shoes. No. Well, the income isn't made apparent initially. Um, and that's because they don't have a need to flash it. They don't spend it on frivolous stuff. So you actually don't know their income. And the income, see, it's one thing. I don't mind a woman who looks for income, however, I do mind a woman who looks for income to enrich herself individually, because that shows that she don't really care about anything. Like, yeah, because I need a lifestyle. The God's chosen income don't go to the adult's lifestyle. It goes to the children's future. And that's what generational wealth is. It means that you, as a woman and a man, have to wear some regular shoes, and you have to drive a regular car, a regular safety feature car, and you have to live in a regular size house. There's no reason that you got 6 bedrooms and 3 people. A mom, a dad, and a kid. There's no reason for that. You live in a regular size house, and all your money is in investments. Getting money off of non God's chosen people who spend their money on flash. That is how they get by. And really, when I say flash, it's really spending their money on attempting to attract the opposite sex. So I'm not saying, no, by any stretch of the imagination, I'm not saying that they don't have money or that they don't have income. What I'm saying is that they don't use it to peacock for the opposite sex, because they even if the women are attracted to the wealth, they're not attracted to the flash of it, which is a waste of the wealth. And that's the sacrifice they make.
And fix it and have some sort of legislation passed tonight if somebody violates a Jewish person. But violate me, there's nothing will happen. Somebody throw me on a t-shirt and call it a day. So it's like there's so much about us where we've lost respect, we've lost footing in that area. And that's just what it is. Maybe at some point, let me know down below. Maybe at some point we'll regain that. We'll be a respected people. We'll be a respectable group again. But as right now, it's like our home is broken up. Our home is messed up. So how are we going to, again, do the last step? Like for me and me personally, I think that purchasing property and ownership and power and control is the last point of a thriving ethnic group. There's so many things that first have to happen.
I agree with that.
Caring for one another, respecting one another, being there for one another, seeing the humanity in one another, looking at each other and listening to the kind of music that we listen to, like Shoot 'Em Up or FB's Get Money and the Sexy Red and all that, like all that craziness that we listen to. And I'm not gonna sit here act like I'm holy and endowed. Like I don't listen sometimes, but sometimes when I'm hearing, I'm like, damn, this is so destructive. This is so, and it's so potent as well. Like you'll be.
I agree, but that's a byproduct of the other stuff we were talking about. Freeman Journal brought up a good point. They would ask questions to determine the income. They will find out. Trust me. No. Okay. So I'm talking about on Pop the Balloon. I'm talking about on Pop the Balloon. So yeah. So anyone said, imagine an Orthodox Jew pop the balloon. So yeah, we're gonna go into that. They pop the balloon the moment they see a person. A guy walks out, and then all of a sudden pop 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 pop, and then they say his shoes untied. I'm saying that wouldn't happen. Like at least they would ask you the question first. Like and trust me, they'll probe. They won't just ask the question. Like if they ask them like, okay, are you what do you do for a living? It's like, I'm a barista. They're not gonna pop right then. They're actually going to say, oh, is it a family owned coffee shop? And then he'll say, no, I own it myself. We have 6 locations throughout Arizona. Like that's, they'll actually probe. He won't say, I'm a barista, pop. And then all the other girls pop. Like I'm saying, it would go different. It would go different. And also, they would expect the wealth to be age proportionate. These broads would be like, yes, I'm a med student. Oh, pop. It's like, wait a minute. He's going to be a doctor one day. Yeah, but I'm not going to let him hit it until then. So Dominic D is watching the show on the rears. He's saying, do we know if that short was real? So I said in the thing that it wasn't. He's going to catch up.
Singing the tune, humming the tune, and it's just like, you kind of feel convicted a little bit, or at least I do when I listen to that kind of music. Like, damn, let me turn this something else, right? Let me put on a little Erykah Badu. Let me put on some India Arie, because it's just like the music nowadays, which is it's such a big thing for us. And it's like, if we allow certain things like that to infiltrate our minds, it poisons us. It just does, right? We're already not really eating that well. So many of us live in food deserts. And I know I seem like I'm going off, but it's gonna come back. So just
food deserts is bull. Food deserts is bull. Yeah, there's not much more I could say about that. Markets develop automatically in places, or I should say products spontaneously appear in places where there is a market for it. Okay, put it like this. You think that businessmen are just sitting down like, oh, there's a food desert over there. Let's do nothing about that. There's a bunch of starving people with money and food stamps in this particular neighborhood. Let's do nothing about that. Let's not open up a shop and make millions in that neighborhood. Who needs money? Who needs money? It's a food. First of all, the term is nutrition desert, but meaning that there is food, there's just a lack of nutritious food there. There is not a market for nutritious food amongst in the quote unquote Black community. There isn't. If you feel that there is, open up a fruit and vegetable stand. Open up a fruit and vegetable stand in a Black community and see how rich you get. Because it's a desert, right? I mean, they're just starving for nutritious food, right? So you should open up and open it up right next to Kentucky Fried Chicken and see how much money you make. Let's see how much of a nutrition desert it is. No, I mean the reason why if you opened up anything like that, if you opened up any type of stores that's dedicated to nutrition, I'm not talking about like Jenny, GNC, excuse me. I'm talking about like actual nutrition. And this isn't a jock on GNC. This isn't, but you can't live off of that. So I'm not talking about that. But hell, let's talk about that. Open up a vitamin barn. And then we'll see how many people in the community spend money on vitamins. Oh, they would if they had the opportunity. Give them the opportunity and see how quick you go broke.
Follow me. We're living in food deserts, right? So our
Okay. All right, let's talk about this because we got somebody on some other opinions shit. So says, why are we assuming that they're going to have generational wealth if they didn't pop the balloon? If they didn't pop the balloon on dudes. Okay. Well, we know that they're not going to gain generational wealth by popping a balloon. And also, it's not really saying that popping the balloon determines whether they have it or not. But the fact that their reason for popping the balloon has nothing to do with generational wealth ever says where their mind is at. And also the questions that they ask never, ever, 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 ever has anything to do with with generational wealth ever. Ever. And I'm not talking about when they ask, what do you do for a living? Because that is more to the effect of, what can you buy me right now? None of them are talking about, how can we get together and live below our means so we both can have greater wealth for our family. Never do they say that ever, 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 ever in the history of Pop the Balloon. Hell, in the history of balloons, have they ever said something like that?
minds aren't even right. There's such a huge connection between the gut and the brain, which is a whole nother video. But it's like, if your mind is not well, your gut is out of whack, meaning you're probably not eating well. You're not eating your whole foods. You're not eating your vegetables, and you're not eating your fruit.
Yeah, open up a Whole Foods in these nutrition deserts and see how quick that go out of business.
Right. And there's so much that happens within the mind, and specifically the Black mind, because we probably have the worst diets. And I'm only saying that because us as Black women, we're usually,
she said probably,
overweight. Okay. And I've taken into account the fact that we hold on more muscle and we're, a little more built, have greater bone density than other races. Cool. But I've taken that into account. We're still big. Right? Meaning that we're still holding on and eating a bunch of processed foods. We're eating the chitlins and the pork and all this crazy stuff and the fast food. We got to stop.
I don't even know where you buy chitlins from. So they live in a nutrition desert, but they find chitlins. They find pig intestines somewhere, huh? Somebody decided to sell you that. They didn't sell you oranges, but they sold you a red jug of pig intestines, and you bought it.
Yeah. Because it's like, how can we as a collective also think that we're about to fix anything if we can't even have control over ourselves and things that we do? Food runs out.
Okay, here's some more different opinion crap. Yet Black men are the second least obese in America. Not Black people thing. It's a Black woman thing. LOL. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that obesity is difficult to measure in men using BMI because you could have like a muscle Terry Crews type dude, you know, and he'll show up on a scale as obese, but we know that he's not obese. And that's the case with a lot of men, particularly black men, who I see at the gym far more frequently than I see black women. But black women, we don't want a big muscle bitch either. So they must take that into account. Like it's like, oh no, it's not fat, it's muscle. So you telling me it's a bunch of brolic bitches in the black community? Even if that's the case, that's not hot. That's not hot either. It is when men do it, but it's not hot either when women do it.
Us. Right? Like the things that we want to consume, the things that we hear, the things that we listen to, we're all hypnotized. We all drink that Kool-Aid. So we're a subdued group. We're a group of people who is just kind of functioning, but there's a part of us that has been that has gone offline. So again, how are we going to, as a collective, own stuff if my mind is not even functioning at its most decent capacity? Because I also believe the health, like actual physical health, what we ingest, helps us function better as a peoples as well. Like if we got more healthy and we took our diets seriously, like whole foods, unprocessed food, fruits, vegetables, we'd be thinking more logically. Think about Ray Ray and Shoot 'em Up Tebow, right? Shoot 'em Up Tebow that been eating McDonald's since he was yay high, and he still is. Think about
Okay, so yes, there is a correlation between gut health and mental health. Um, but it's, in my opinion, in my understanding of it, it's more of a correlation between, like brain fog, productivity, stuff like that. Um, not so much, not so much. I ate McDonald's and now I want to do a drive-by. Not so much that, but yeah, let's go further. I mean, she still haven't mentioned, we're more than halfway past, and she did what I was afraid that she was going to do, and that is overlook the whole family aspect of it.
what type of havoc that wreaks on the mind. He's not okay. There's a level of insanity that some of these people have, and there's so many traumatized people in this community as well that we don't even realize because we're just so used to anxiety, depression. We don't talk about how people unalive themselves, right? Or overly intoxicating themselves. Liquor stores on each corner, and we're in them. I look at them, I see them, and we go in.
Sure.
We go to these stores, and yeah, probably the white people go to the ones in their communities, but they're really not on every corner like it is ours. But every time I go past it or walk up in it, right, and get my little wine sometime, I always see who's in it, and it's people who look like me. So you can't tell me that we're not full of toxicity. We are intoxicated, right? Just from our food and the things that we drink and the things that we do and the things that we listen to. So how are you going to take these kinds of people, this kind of group, and sell them on the idea that, number one, you're traumatized. Number two, there's a deep-seated sense of self-hatred that's running rampant all through you. But you should buy property, though. That's not a viable solution at this point for most of us. So I wanted to make this video because I feel like a lot of our work is in our communities. Our work is on restoring our relationships with our brothers, our next door neighbors, and just caring, just lend a hand, right? The next time you see a Black woman struggling or a Black man struggling or needing help, or you notice somebody struggling, paying for the grocery or something, you got an extra, I don't know, $5, $10, take care of it, right? Help that old lady. Don't just walk past her. You see she's struggling, right? Lift your brother up when you walk past him, right? Give that man a compliment. It costs nothing, but it has a ripple effect. And I think.
Okay. What she's missing is that we already do that. But that's all we do. Even Thuggo will, help an old lady across the street and stuff. Well, I don't, I don't really know. I don't know if people do that anymore. I don't know if old ladies still cross streets, and I don't know if in America, uh, and I don't know if Thuggo cross streets at the same time old ladies. But I'm pretty sure if they found themselves in that particular scenario, they would help. Same with the groceries and stuff. It's not really about that because we have that, but that's all we have. We don't have, families, extended families, and communities that extend from extended families. Without that, you know, it's lost.
It's doing these small things. I know they seem small and inconsequential, but I don't think that they are. Like, I think these are huge. I think that if we continue to do little things like this as a community, we can slowly build up trust, slowly build up the humanity, where Ray Ray will start to look at shoot him up Tebow and be like, you know what, I probably shouldn't do that. I know his grandma. His grandma's really nice. Or, nah, my brother, that's like my brother. Like, we look the same. Like, we look the same. I probably shouldn't do that. Maybe, just maybe, it'll have a ripple effect and make us think twice. That's all I want us to do, is think twice. And then we could talk about pooling money. Because how you gonna pool money with me? You don't trust me. You don't trust me. I don't trust you. And that's just natural in our community. It shouldn't be. That's like, we need to start seeing that as a side effect or a symptom of sickness. To not trust your kin, to not trust your family. I'm your family. I'm your sister. Remember me? I'm your sister. Give me your money so I could, we could own our block again. But you wouldn't trust that.
Did she just say, I'm your sister, give me your money? Correct me if I'm wrong. Before I replay it, did she just say, I'm your sister, give me your money? Let's go back 20 seconds. I hope I didn't hear those words. I hope I didn't hear those words.
Trust you. And that's just natural in our community. It shouldn't be. That's like, we need to start seeing that as a side effect or a symptom of sickness. To not trust your kin, to not trust your family. I'm your family.
We're not kin. We have such dysfunctional families that we don't even know what kin is. We have such dysfunctional families that we don't know what kin is. And I'm not saying don't have a sense of brotherhood, and of course people are going to have that, like, yeah, this is my fraternity brother, or this is my gang brother or whatever, and sister or whatnot. This is my sorority sister, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but make no mistake, this is not. There is a difference between that. It's a substitute, and we've been substituting so long because we don't have the real thing. Very few of us have full brothers and sisters. And that's because our parents can't stand each other long enough to fuck twice. So, yeah, that's what it comes down to. Let's see if she actually said that. I'm hoping. I'm hoping she didn't say that.
Community, it shouldn't be. That's like, we need to start seeing that as a side effect or a symptom of sickness. To not trust your kin, to not trust your family. I'm your family. I'm your sister. Remember me? I'm your sister. Give me your money so I could.
And that's another thing. Yeah, she said it. I'm your sister. Give me your money. Yeah, that was actually said. That was actually said. Okay. I'm your brother. Suck my dick. What the fuck? Jesus. Somebody said you have to clip that. If I clip stuff, I would. I don't clip stuff. Yeah, like I'm your brother. Give me a sandwich. What the hell? Oh gosh, my head hurts. I'm gonna play that one more time.
Effect or a symptom of sickness. To not trust your kin, to not trust your family. I'm your family. I'm your sister. Remember me? I'm your sister. Give me your money so I could, we could own our block again. But you wouldn't trust.
I'm your brother. Hit the Cash App.
That you wouldn't trust that, and I mean, rightfully so. Sometimes I don't know, but I think we need to start at a very restorative place, and then we could start having those higher conversations. So this video is not to discourage anybody from purchasing property. You got the coin, go get it. But again, I don't think that's a fix it. I don't think that's a panacea. I don't think that will magically fix all of our problems, or just because we have a little wealth. It's still very individual.
I learned a new word today, and it's called panacea. Thank you.
You have wealth. We're still poor, right? And families control things, not individuals.
Okay,
right?
so she
And
finally
I'm not just
touched
talking
on
about
it.
people with your last name, but I'm talking about people who look like you. Because
dang, she was on to something. Oh crap. And once again, this is a distorted view of family. Family is not people that look like you. Family is not people that look like you. Family is actually family. You can't go around giving this artificial family. Listen, a man hits a woman that looks like you, and you don't know nothing. You don't know if she's worth risking yourself to protect. But if it was your sister, your cousin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know that person. So you can and actually let's just take it off the women and let's reverse the genders for a second, right? Somebody who looks like you goes to jail. Now it could be trumped up charges, or it could be, it could be racism, it could be trumped up charges, it could be a number of things. All you know is that this person who looks like you is in jail. And you want to know if you should bail them out. You have the money to bail them out, and you want to know if you should. Now, if this was your brother, your cousin, or whatever, you wouldn't automatically do it. But what you would say is, I know this person, and I know that he did not do what he is accused of. Therefore, I am going to back him because I know him, and I know him because he's my actual family member. That is why I am going to back him. And same thing with the females, who it's like, listen, I know that my little sister is never gonna be, she's not the type to be in a dude's face provoking shit, and then she gets smacked up. So if she's smacked up, it's because this nigga need to be handled. And then you could have another sister be like, oh no, she always starting shit. She always starting shit and expecting me to lay hands on somebody, and I've been doing this since junior high. So, you actually know your family. but you don't know you don't know strangers that just look like you and call themselves your sister. You don't. I seen one thing. I didn't even see like the outcome, but I seen an episode of a show that they had about the Innocence Project. Y'all hit the like button about the Innocence Project, where it was a young dude. He went to jail, and the charges were like obviously bad. Now, of course, they're doing this with revisionist history. They're doing this with 2020 hindsight. But he couldn't get through his entire family. Through his entire family, they couldn't get like $9,000 to hire an investigator who would have quickly determined that he was innocent. In fact, he was innocent. That's how he got on the show and stuff like that. So some people had to come and do it for free. People who come from an intact community. It's like, you mean to tell me that you don't have 9 cousins that can drop $1,000 each? You telling me that your family can't take on a second mortgage? It's $9,000. I'm not talking like, I'm high and mighty, and if I lost $9,000, I wouldn't miss it. No, I'm not talking like that. I'm saying that, through enough people, even poor people, if there's a lot of them, they can get together. You have a family reunion, and then at the end of it, you say, hey, cousin such and such, or your brother, your actual brother such and such is locked up. I'm gonna need y'all to kick in to reach this $9,000. But he had to spend some years in jail before the Innocence Project got to him, and now he's out. So it's like, so the money he would have made those years is gone because his family didn't have the $9,000 to get him out.
In the Amish community, the Jewish communities, the Asian communities, they would be all out for oneself. But no, they support businesses, they pool resources, they live together until it makes sense to get a different house. And that's another thing that we've been completely sold on as well. Like, it's
Did she say they live together? You want to know why they live together? Because they're freaking family.
they pool resources, they live together until it makes sense to get a different house. And that's another thing that we've been completely sold on as well. Like, it's a sign of doing well when you're 18, you go to college and you go there for the 4 years and you get your own place and you never move back home and you're independent and you find your man. And like that, I've been sold on that. And I look back like, damn, maybe I should have stayed home after college. Maybe I should have pooled my money. Maybe me and my cousins and all of us should have just stayed at the house, and maybe we'd be better off. But I think we're
Agreed.
so. I mean, I think it's a very loaded situation because I think a lot of us want to get away from home because there's toxicity there or there's stress
Agreed.
there, right? Which we don't talk about, but that's also.
No, I want you to say it. I want you to say it. The reason that you want to live home is because mama's home. The reason that you want to leave home is because mama's home. Black mamas, make living with them a complete and total, utter fucking nightmare. Men, women, boys, girls, it don't matter. They make it a complete and total fucking nightmare. To where you can't wait to get out. I mean, I'm trying to think. The reason why I'm pausing is because I'm actually trying to figure out who has it worse, the daughters or the sons. being raised by black mamas. And so far, I'm like weighing both of them from just like what I've seen in my personal life and um what I've seen just like through other people telling their stories, like Dr. Dre, Tupac, even though he told his story in song form. When I was young, me and my mom had beef. 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. Like, damn. Yeah, that's pretty typical black mom. And then expect money from the from your son's illegal activities, even though I had to sell rocks. Felt good putting money in your mailbox. You like, wait, what? Didn't she kick you out? But I'm still going to have to veer towards the girls because they're the younger, hotter version of the mamas, and quite frankly, mama just don't want them near. Mama don't want them near, reminding them how hot they're not anymore and how hot they probably used to be. Nah, well, it's a balance. I was thinking, and nah, it's a balance. They treat all of their kids equally like shit. I wish Sweet Melody Media was here. She sent me the link to something, and maybe I could find it on Instagram about how black mamas treat their sons and daughters. But trust me, in my own personal life, because I used to work with kids and stuff, I can tell you that they treat their kids like complete and total shit. And once you turn 17, they sense that the end is near and they treat you shittier.
Also true. But again, back to the mental.
And once again, stop being a shitty person. Like when I say black women have to sacrifice something, it means that you have to be a better mother, even though for whatever reason your every instinct tells you to be a fucking shit whore. You have to fight that instinct to be a shit whore and actually be a better bitch.
Because we're not addressing the right shit. We're leaving the house because our biggest aspiration is, oh, I'm gonna get my own thing. I got my own place, my own car. Cool. But how far have you gone just because you have your own place, your own apartment with a lease, or you got your own house with a mortgage? But what about the rest of your family?
She does have a point there.
Right? And outside of your family, like who you're actually blood related to, what about the rest of us? I feel like we used to have more of a collective.
Okay, she dang, she be hitting a point and then she just take it away right then. What about the rest of us? So, okay, here's what I see going on. Family should be like an 80-20 rule. Like 80% of your time, energy, effort, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, should go into your family, and the other 20% goes into everyone else. However, when you don't have much of a family, then the 80% goes into everyone else, and the 20% goes into family. Meaning that if you are a single person, you are more likely to um, go on a mission to the Amazon jungles and help the pygmy people or however that works. You know, build irrigation ditches and stuff like that. Those are typically single people that do stuff like that. Single childless people that do stuff like that. Because who's going to have their kids at home while you're out digging ditches for other people's kids so they can have a place to shit in? Like, that doesn't make sense. So it's typically not family people who do stuff like that. They're more concerned in making sure that their owner is secure. What she's subconsciously saying is like, listen, I know that none of y'all have your own family, just like her. So why not take that effort into doing your whole Greenpeace and, I'm your sister, give me money type deal.
Collective mindset. We used to actually care what was going on with people next door, up the street, down the road, and all that. And I'm not completely blaming us because obviously there's so many things put in our way and so
No, you could completely blame us. There isn't shit that's put in our way that's not put into Chinaman's way, that's not put into Latino way. So you can't completely blame us. And by us, I mean you. I'm talking about black women. We didn't have this shit show before feminism.
many systems, so many very strategic things put in place for us to really have our relationships break down, not just with one another, but with ourselves first. So now we're just seeing that externalized and manifested to where we don't even trust one another. But at the core of us, we are.
Trust is earned. Skin aside, trust is earned. Yeah. And unfortunately, you earn trust due to your, interacting with people in a long-term basis. And that's something that you do like once trust is once it's needed. It's like, okay, now we cash in on this trust that I've been building, all your life. It's okay. Take a movie like Braveheart, right? And you have like William Wallace character, excuse me. And it started off, it's like, okay, they didn't follow him just because he was a man with a grievance, a justified grievance. He built trust. He built his reputation over years, not even knowing that he was going to go to war. Like people who find themselves in situations and everybody helps, it's because of how they built themselves, the trust and stuff. They've been building the trust for several years before they like, okay, now that I have made it clear that I'm somebody you could trust, I need you to do this for me. I need you to vote for me for city councilman. I built my reputation for this long. I need y'all to bail me out. You can trust that I didn't do it. So I was on Sweet Melody Media's panel when all of this stuff went down with Diddy. And she was on him. And this is the same girl that was against like what happened to Bill Cosby and all that stuff, but she was on Diddy. And the reason why Diddy's not really getting much support, because he could just be not guilty of it. But the reason why he don't is because of, apparently, I don't know, I'm not from the East Coast, so I don't really get as many whispers and murmurs about what the nigga is like in real life, but it's not good. And just the trust, the support, et cetera, is not there. He's the dude that is like, if something strange come along, chances are he did it because he's a Cambodian breast milk drinking, Farnsworth Bentley umbrella holding, nigga having type weirdo. So yeah. And family, since you're with them on a day-to-day basis in many cases, but on a regular basis in most cases, you build a reputation within that, and they know whether they can trust you or not. You build credit. You don't just get credit. You don't just start off with an 840 credit score, and then every time you fuck up, they take it down a point. No, you actually start off I guess with no credit, which is probably going to put you like in the 5 range or the 4. How low does credit go? Let me see. Hold on. What is the? It's in the 5s or 4. Hold on. Lowest credit score. 3. Oh, damn! It goes to the 3. Okay. So yeah, so you probably start off when you have no credit. You know, you're fresh. Your 18th birthday. You probably start off like at 3, unless your parents set you up, meaning like they put your name on the house or something like that. You probably start off at 3, and then you build it up over years, not the other way around. And credit scores exist for a reason. We need to know if we can trust somebody with anything. We don't just give it to people because their color, especially if that color has a reputation for being untrustworthy.
Very tribal focused people. And I feel like the more we get back to that, the more we trust, the more we start to honor each other like how we used to. I think ownership and less black on black crimes, healthier eating and all that will all be a natural consequence of a right thinking mind, a healthy mind, a respectful mind. And I just want us to start there with the little acts of kindness. So like I always say, this channel is going to be very solution oriented. No, I'm not going to say, let's put our money together. Let's buy property. I ain't got it. Okay. I ain't got it. Not right now, not today, but I will. But as of now, for what we can do, say hi, smile, right? That's another thing. Some of us Black women, including myself, sometimes I'll look at another Black woman and I don't smile.
Oh, what
right?
the hell?
Sometimes I'm in my own zone and I forget to smile, or I almost have a scowl. And I'm like, what is that?
Okay. She'll completely lose me if she don't mention Black men. Because I don't dislike this woman. We agree on some things and disagree on other things. And I generally agree with her. I just think that she's overlooking the necessity of families, even though that's in her title. But I hope that she don't say that Black women should smile at each other and not mention Black men. I hope that that's. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on you. I'm keeping my fingers crossed on you because it looks like you got big titties. I am keeping my fingers crossed for you. Come on now.
That with you. Why when I see my sister, why can't I just
Okay, you said your sister.
You know,
again.
and I've done that before, and I think I've got my feelings hurt because sometimes I don't get the reciprocity. Other times I will, right? But for me, that's how
What
I'm
about
trying
your
to
brother?
do my little thing is to teach my sister and let her
Oh,
know,
come
like,
on.
Mom,
What
I'm
about
safe.
your brother?
I am you. Hey, girl, I see you. I acknowledge you. You're in the gym. I'm in the gym, right? We have so many commonalities. Smile at yourself.
Oh, holy crap. Come on now. It's almost at the end. Fellas, it is almost at the end. She is not going to say that Black women need to smile at brothers and like not scowl at them like they the nigga that impregnated them and disappeared. Like, you know, like we stole a bike or some shit. I hope that the woman that didn't just say, I'm your sister, give me money, is not going to advocate for just smiling at Black women. I'm hoping that that's not the case. Come on now. Fingers crossed, big titties. Let's go.
Your sister. Smile at your brothers. Give them
Oh,
compliments.
okay. Thank you. Whew. Thank you. You were close. You was on the precipice, even though you kind of touched on the sister's heart, and then you just kind of like threw in smile at your brothers. But I'm gonna give that to you. You was close. You was close to being on the list. All right.
And let her know, like, no, I'm safe. I am you. Hey, girl, I see you. I acknowledge
Oh,
you.
dang.
You're in the gym. I'm in the gym. Right? We have so many commonalities. Smile at your sisters. Smile at your brothers. Give them compliments. Help that old lady. Go check on. You know that old lady living at that house by herself. She needs help.
Why
Knock on her door and ask her, does she need anything? Maybe you can do something bi-weekly, right? Just to instill that and just understand, like, pay it forward. And I think those little tiny things help us tremendously. All right, so I know this video touched on a lot of very heavy things, and there's a whole lot to unpack in this video. It's just scratching the tip of the iceberg, but this was really on my heart. So if you have anything of value that you want to add to this conversation, please comment down below. Because I feel like on certain videos, you guys really been talking heavy, and I love that because it makes me feel like I'm tapping into the right group. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. It helps my channel grow. If it wasn't for you guys, my channel will be nowhere. So please, the only way we're going to get this message out is if you like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
She was almost on the list. If she hadn't said your brother too, that would have put her on this, but she's not. So
whether your next door neighbor.
Let's read her comments. It's got 5,000 views. She has 1,000 subscribers. Okay. So let's see. Oh, okay. She responded to this one. Regarding food, please do a study of Google images of Black women before 1980s. Oh, wow. This person is on it. Not just celebrities. Look for photographs of ordinary women. Search categories like African American protests. Okay. You'll find no overweight Black women. These words are true. You'll find a picture of, if you find a picture of an overweight Black woman before 1980, she almost certain be an older woman. Yeah, because they popped out so many kids, like Mexicans. Our food and eating habits has changed for the worse in the 1980s. Okay, you're right. She does have intelligent people in her room. Let's see what she has to say. Thanks for the feedback. This honestly doesn't surprise me. We naturally are an athletic group of people, and to see how unhealthy we've become is super concerning. I agree. Okay. The food changed to anyone. We stopped growing our own by 1980. Support local farm. Okay, that's all right. Breaking generational cycles equal generational wealth. Okay, I got a feeling that this isn't going to go well. I'm someone who is working to start a business, and I'm realizing healing from my trauma is a big role in this journey. Yeah, way to make it about you. All right, let's see. You're very correct, young lady. You also understand that there's always more than one thing happening in identifying a situation. You have a genuine grasp of the problem, almost. I would add, though, not just property, but also essential services. Get into services that people actually need, not just their hair care. Listen, without families, you don't have communities. Without communities, you don't have small businesses. Because, like, and that's another thing. That's another thing. Once you built up a reputation, let's just say you built up a reputation for barbecue. You know, you're the dude that's behind the grill all the time at family events and family functions. And then as your family grows, as it should grow, and let me tell you how families grow. It grows by having children at a young age, but mainly it grows by marriage. It grows by marriage. You want to double the size of your family, then have somebody in your family get married and stay married. So, like, if you have 4 brothers and you marry a woman who has 3 brothers, or actually she has 4 brothers also, then you just doubled your sibling count. You just doubled the number of people that you are connected to. And back to the barbecue analogy, if you are a person who barbecues every family function, and you now have twice as many people eating your barbecue, then what happens? That's more people that eats it, likes it, and even though they're not going to eat barbecue every day, they're going to tell people about your spot. They're going to give that word of mouth. It's spreading within that community. And keep in mind, you already have 4 brothers. So if all 4 of them marries a decent Black woman, which is unheard of, but let's pretend like we live in a world that's where there's an abundance of decent Black women. If all 4 of them did that, then really your family is now 5 times as large. and then their extended family, and then their extended family. And what do you have? A community. A large enough community to where, if you were to open a business and just start off with all the people that know you personally, you still have a feasible business. That's how that works. That is amazing insight. Thank you. Needed based businesses like mortuary, landscaping, electricity. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's not really a matter of need, but people are not going to support these businesses simply because they're black. They're not. Now, if my brother-in-law was an electrician, then he would be my electrician. If my brother-in-law was a plumber or a mechanic or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, he would be my et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's how that works. But you got rid of family and you got rid of community, which means that you got a bunch of individuals walking around like, I'm trying to start a business. Yeah, I'm a mechanic, but it's like, yes, but you don't have a family is your base network. It's your base network. It's the network you are born with. Automatic. It's a free network that you are automatically born with. Black people are constantly networking for themselves because they don't have that. It's so hard because when you do good and build townships, it gets burnt to the ground, and a lake gets put on top of it. We have so many things coming for our necks. Okay, blame Whitey. Love this message. 100% aligned with you. We are not broke. We are broken. Hmm, well put. Thanks for the commentary. We're such a resilient group. That's not something to be proud of. The ability to take other people's shit is not something to be proud of. I will always be hopeful that we can overcome. We're talking about excelling, not overcoming. But anyway, I'm just praying it can be done in our lifetimes. Well, the whole point of generational wealth is that it's done in your children's lifetime, but you actually have to have some. Buy land on stolen land. I'm not even gonna read the rest of what that nigga has to say. Oh, here we go. It starts with black men. Ha! Okay, let's see what else she has to say. Simple as that. Maybe they should start thinking highly of the women of their community instead of belittling us. Bitch! Now you gotta say it like short. Bitch! Okay. Let's see what the responses is to this. I'm gonna respond. Perhaps if our women were to be little, we would not have to. Y'all get what I did there? Y'all get what I did there? It starts with black women, simple as that. Maybe they should start thinking highly of the women of their community instead of for belittling us. Well, if you were to belittle, we wouldn't have to. Yeah, I am a funny man. All right, let's see what they have to say. There's a ton of truth there. Ha! She said ton. I talked about this one in one of my videos called Black Woman's New Man is Hyper Independence. Okay, I'll check that out. Check it out when you get a chance. I will. I will. I think I've seen it like when I was going through it. Holy crap. This is at Dr. Umar Johnson 1. Let me see if this is the real Umar. No, this is a fake Umar. This is 32 subscriber Umar.
Generate.
Of course they won't get it. I mean, just like they don't take time out to like really think about why we have these criticisms. They're just attacking our right to criticize. Is why they won't get what I just said. That and base stupidity. Okay, let's see. Dang, I lost the. It starts with black men. Yeah, right. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right. So, yeah. A black spouse indicates consciousness, racial pride, strength, and high self image. A non black spouse indicates isolation, shame, weakness, and poor self image. What does no spouse? What does no spouse represent? Or better yet, what does a fat spouse represent? Anyway, I disagree. This is generalizing statements I've made. I've married outside my race, and I'm very conscious. Oh crap! You don't have to prove how conscious you are to these people. Fuck them. More than those married to black spouses. Okay, let's see where this is going. My white spouse is very respectful to black people and an active ally. I have racial pride and I discuss it with my spouse. I don't know if this is, yeah, so this is a woman. I speak to him and listen to his conscious channels in front of him. We go to black culture events and he's just fine. He doesn't get any mentally stronger than me, and I love myself through every stage of life. I discuss with our children racism, privilege, the identity, blah, 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 blah. With black women and women in general, men do the picking / hunting. Holy crap. So I'm going to pick Tyler. You stupid bitch. I'm going to pick Tyler. I'm going to pick Rihanna. I'm going to pick Chloe Bailey. Since we do the picking, shut the fuck up. We do the dicking. Y'all. Men do the picking. Is that how that works? This is gaslighting in a motherfucker. By that logic, she should have never shot down a man because men do the picking. And he picked you. What was it was a show on HBO. It's one of my favorite shows of all times. It was called Rome. And there was a scene on the show. And I never really understood it, but it was really interesting to me because I though I like it, I'm definitely no expert on ancient Roman culture. But there was a guy and a horse, And he was just like leaving Rome. And then he seen like this beautiful young woman, and she was walking by herself. And he just grabbed her and said, "Up you go." And then he put her on a horse, and she was his slave. And I was like, wait a minute, is that how that works? You see a woman walking by herself, and you're just like, yeah, all right, there you go. And I was like, wait, what? And then next thing you know, he had her chained to the chariot. She was a slave, and somebody else offered to buy her. I was like, okay, that was weird. And that is the world they will have you think that we live in. That we live in a culture to where you just go by in a horse, you see a single woman, and you say, "Yep, here you go, you're mine now." And the reason why so many single women exist is because black men haven't done that yet. This is the sickness that they try to instill in people. All right. Men do the picking and hunting, women do the choosing. And women choose. Okay, so she did say that. Well, is it true that so the blame could be that the women aren't choosing the men that pick them because they're not 6'4"? Even though I'm pretty sure your husband isn't 6'4", but yeah. Um, I've always had non-black men picking and chasing me. See, y'all just want the validation. Did you always have black men picking and chasing you? And the answer to that is probably yes, because we have lower standards than every other group. So if you meet their standards, then you definitely meet ours. Then you exceed ours. To this day, they're the ones complimenting me and my and being courageous, not black men. This is bullshit. This bitch is lying. She's probably not even married to a white dude. Shit like this. Just to say stuff like that just to get chosen more. All right. It's only a scam to people. I think I mean scam. It's only a scam to people who didn't invest and aren't patient. Okay. Even as landowners in our family for 126 years, it's a struggle every year to pay property taxes. Um, you don't own land for 126 years. Your family does not own land for 126 years straight. Um, Somewhere in the 120-year period, and let's talk about this, some bitch divorced one of your ancestors and took all of his shit. Say you have a farm, a 40-acre farm and a mule, and you try to pass that down generation, but all it takes is one generation for a bitch to say, nope, I want half. I want half, Eddie. And now you have a farm that's 20 acres and half of a fucking mule. And she has bags, shoes, expensive cars and shit. That's what she spent your half of 40 acres on. And then you're like, okay, I have half of 40 acres and half of a mule, a dwarfed mule. And you're like, okay, I'm okay with this. And then the next generation, a bitch take half again. It's like, all right, now we're down to 10 acres. And then they take half again. Now you're down to 5, and then they take half again, and now you just got 2.5 acres. This is 4 generations of bitches. So yes, and we are 4 generations deep into this foolishness. No matter what you have, if it's constantly being divided every generation of marriage, then you're going to lose out. Okay, let's see. We're lagging. We're still lagging because the field has never been low. Okay, more blame Whitey. I don't have time for that. Nobody here is talking about the family aspect of it. Holy crap! Oh my God, I'm subscribing because I've been saying this, and you're so pretty. Thank you so much, love. Glad to have you. Okay, well, it's good that they're subscribing. We need to respect. We need facts. We need to respect and uplift one another and ourselves. 100. No one knows struggle like we do. Okay. Why is it that we can't unite on prosperity? We have to unite on struggle. We need to unite because we're struggling. What happens when you stop struggling? Oh, because that's where I don't need a man comes from. It comes from I'm no longer struggling. I have welfare and government jobs, and I don't need you anymore. Our unity was based on struggle. Once the struggle ended, the unity dissipated, which means that we will never get past the struggle phase because we become disjoined after we struggle. All right. People who you unite for a struggle fight and for those of you who don't know me, I don't know how to spell words, which is why I'm glad I live in modern times. All right. My people looked out for us. They plan a future from day one, starting with my grandfather. Uh, it's a scam if you want it to be. Well, it's a scam if you use it to scam somebody. Like just like good mechanics exist, but I mean, it can be used to scam people. All right, let's see. I'm just scanning, kind of looking to see. Okay, I kind of feel this area one can talk chewing gum at the same time. Both goals can be pursued simultaneously, but yes, we need more human. Okay. Um, all right, agreed. All right, so enough of this. Let me get to Umar. So right now I'm at overtime, and y'all haven't sent no bread. So um, let me get to Umar. So I only watched this much of this video. Actually, this wasn't even a video I wanted to share with y'all. Hold on, right quick. So somebody did like a whole collection of Dr. Umar talking about generational wealth, and we're going to definitely talk about that. Trying to look rich will keep you poor. Yeah. But unfortunately, so many brothers feel like they have to because they'll get the balloon popped on them if they don't. All right. All right, here we go. Okay. So this is 8 years ago. Dr. Umar talking about intergenerational wealth. Let's see what he has to say about this. I only watched like 30 seconds of it, but let's see. Now, keep in mind that this is a dude that's not financially supporting his daughters. Not saying that he has to, but I am saying he's a fucking hypocrite.
We got to recognize that wealth is intergenerationally created. Most people who get rich don't get rich in a lifetime. Most people are intergenerational wealth. That means what? That if black people want to catch up, we have to start saving wealth and passing it to the next generation. Our biggest problem ain't that we're splurging, is that every time we splurge, we're stealing from our descendants.
All right.
But the white child, they're starting out $100,000 plus, $1 million plus. And I think we have to become more strategic in the way that we do our health plans, as well as our life insurance plans. Because what I'm learning with a lot of these white folk, a lot of them are getting their first, what you want to call a shock of wealth through the life insurance policy of their parents.
We talk about that too.
Yeah,
so life insurance policy.
Yeah, so there's so many different strategies towards wealth that we're not even thinking about because black people, our selfishness, it's also based on our, what you want to call it, emergency consciousness, survival instinct. We're only worrying about our life. We do not think about those who come after us. Now,
wow. This is like watching Diddy video, like R. Kelly video in like a whole different light. After you know what you know. So for those of you who don't know, apparently he has a daughter. He's a deadbeat dad. She's OnlyFans and all that crap going on. And he's talking about looking for the generation after. Yeah.
you got to realize now, when we got a slavery, white folks been already building wealth for a couple centuries. Right. We started behind the 8 ball. Okay? So you got to play catch up. How do you catch up with somebody who's 100 yards in front of you? You have to run faster than they are. That means we have to sacrifice our spending habits more than everyone else in order to catch up.
I agree with
How
that
does
part.
a people who are at the bottom waste money more than people who are at the top? So not only are you not catching up, you're not even thinking about it. Trying to catch up.
This is good. And we got 1,000 questions, and we know you got a flight. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. No problem.
One fat meat juicy point. What would it be before you go?
I would say that we have to build our own schools. Everything we're talking about, the only way it becomes normalized, the only way it becomes a part of the collective Black consciousness.
This is 8 years old, and he's talking about that school. So apparently generational wealth is a scam, and he's scamming people out of money for a damn school that's never going to get built.
Is if the group. Remember, all progress is group work. It's teamwork. That means we need all the children in Jackson to be taught the principles of financial empowerment. All the children of Jackson to be taught how to eat healthy. All the children of Jackson to understand what Black family means and why it's so important. Until then, it's just a specialty. As we spoke earlier, diet being a specialty, wealth is a specialty. Think about it. If you're Black and you're in the know about money, in the laws of finance, you are a specialty. You are an eccentricity. You are an oddity. That's a problem. Because for white people, gaining wealth is a regular part of their everyday conversation. Even poor white people are regularly talking about wealth. Black people don't discuss wealth at all. We have to move it from the marginalized status it has and make it a mainstream topic of conversation.
Is there an answer? I know you can't just drop a 2-second answer.
No. Here's what I would say with the unity. Again, unity has to be incorporated into the collective consciousness, which means children have to be socialized to unite with one another. Remember, our kids are socialized to disunite as a principle, right? I've had first.
We're really not. We're really not socialized to disunite. And you don't actually have to socialize people from doing something that comes naturally. You know, people can be socialized against doing something that comes naturally, like forming families, having children, nurturing those children. You know, people can be socialized against that and towards Birkin bags. But you don't really have to socialize family. You just need to have one. Because outside of that, you're just giving mixed signals. You know, you'll be that person that says, we need to come together as a family. Where's daddy? Well, what do you mean? Where's daddy? I mean, you say come together as a family, but you kick daddy out the house.
Graders 6 and 7, talking about how black your skin is, how cheap your clothes is, how nappy your hair. You're 6.
Yeah.
You just your first year in school. How do you know all this?
Yeah.
The parents. We are teaching our kids to be Negroes. So the only way you're going to undo that is to teach them to be Africans, which is why I want my school to be residential. Because I know sending them back to the same house that created the illness after school is going to undo everything I do from 8 to 3. You got the kids for 16 hours. I got them for 8. I can't win because the brain is the creature of repetition.
Yes.
Whoever gets to this the most will rule it. What did Adolf Hitler say? Come up with a lie. Keep on telling the lie. Be consistent with it. It ain't got to be the truth. But the brain cannot resist the temptation to believe something that is regularly presented before it. Repetition wins.
Those words really shows how naturally manipulative Dr. Umar Johnson is. If y'all listen to him speak for a certain number of time, let's just say 5 minutes, you'll see that he always repeats himself. He always repeats himself. He always repeats himself. And now he's talking about the power of repetition as it pertains to brainwashing and creating propaganda. Listen at this closely again and take into account what I just said.
Now, I got them for 8. I can't win because the brain is the creature of repetition.
Yes.
Whoever gets to this the most will rule it. What did Adolf Hitler say? Come up with a lie. Keep on telling the lie. Be consistent with it. It ain't got to be the truth. But the brain cannot resist.
Sounds like your school. Sounds like pretty much everything he says. So you believe that repetition is a tool of manipulation. You're really likening yourself to Hitler. And you're looking to brainwash others. You're looking to brainwash others. You're looking to brainwash others.
This the temptation to believe something that is regularly presented before it. Repetition wins. We give our kids the white folks for the first 18 years of their life, then we want to remake them into Africans for the rest of their life. That's ridiculous. The formidable years of conditioning is birth to 12. The formidable years of conditioning is birth to 12. We give that to white people. And then when they turn 21, they already have
There you go, repeating themselves.
They already have a personality. They already got hard habits. And now we want to re-Africanize them. Who does that? What people have ever gotten free, giving the best years of their children to their oppressor, the manipulator?
All right. He asked a question towards the end: what group of people ever got free, given the formative years of their children to Others. I want to say German. I want to say like the Celtic people. Like I don't know who they. So Rome had this thing that they did where if they were to have conflict with a tribe, they would say, okay, as part of the peace treaty, your son would have to be raised in Rome. And the reason for this is like, hey, if you ever get out of line, remember we got your son. So it was kind of like a hostage thing, but also it was to indoctrinate the kid, meaning that he identifies as Rome, and because he's a leader in the community, he's going to indoctrinate, his tribesmen the same way. That's the thinking behind it. But all of these people obviously eventually are free. If they weren't or got free, if they didn't, then Europe would just be Italy. Like there wouldn't be a Europe. It'd all just be Italy. Okay, it says, what did he teach his daughter from 0 to 12? Not to deal with niggas like him. Hopefully it didn't take. Well, maybe it took, maybe it didn't. But yeah, that's one lesson that that she got from him. But yeah, so once again, the concept of generational wealth, it's a carrot. It's a carrot that people use that black people use on each other to bait them into something. Like, yes, what we need, my brother, is generational wealth. Like, okay, I'm listening. Like, yeah, so what I'm gonna need you to do is I'm your sister, give me money. Like, what? Yeah, we need generational wealth, so I need you to invest in this school. Yes, I'm going to invest in my own kids going to MIT. Like, okay, give us generations and we'll give you generational wealth. How about that? How about that? Now I'm getting sidetracked because I'm looking on my other screen here and I see Tyrone Magnus talking about Jonathan Majors just admitted it. People need to leave Jonathan Major the fuck alone. I will go at anybody that goes after Jonathan Majors because it's not like I'm a huge fan of his body of work. Listen and listen to me good. It is his fucking prerogative if he wants to choke a bitch that wants to be choked. Let me put that caveat in there. That wants to be choked. You see, people talking about this whole, oh, he admitted it. Well, maybe he admitted it because he choked the bitch. And so what if he did? People have such bland sex lives that they don't understand that not an insignificant amount of women like to be choked. A not insignificant amount of women like to be choked. They love that shit. So when two people get together and do and agree upon a safe word, 4 is none of my damn business. Yeah, I know his crime was messing with white women. Well, if that's the case, throw me under the jail. Fuck that. And now I'm back on O'Shea's ass. See, I didn't even want to cover this, but Tyrone Magnus brought up the subject, and now I'm on O'Shea. All right, so let me go to his shit because he has some shit to say. He got sour grapes because yes, they married, and your ass is buying Ugandan hoes. So we're gonna go into Yeah, exactly. 50 Shades of Black. Fuck what they talking about. Listen, I mean, if they having casual conversations about choking, it's obvious that she's into it. Man, hold on. Instead of for being happy about him and Megan Good, this nigga got something to say. Hold on. All right, he got another video. Michael B. Jordan is dating black women again. I don't think he ever stopped. Just because you're dating somebody, another group of women too, doesn't mean that he was exclusively not black. See, he focused on where other men put their dick. Fuck, man, get on my fucking nerves with this. Leave Jonathan Majors the fuck alone. Where is it at? Here it is. We all been that. I mean, yeah. This is all the time ask you to choke him. What the fuck? And that's why he wanted to keep it a secret because he understands that vanilla ass niggas vanilla ass niggas can't handle the facts. They can't. And chances are O'Shea want to choke bitches too, but Ugandan women charge extra for that, so he can't. Damn, she looked good. I feel bad for like brothers and sisters who look like a person, but they're just not quite that person. Like Charlie Murphy, who's a funny dude, but he's just not quite Eddie, or Drew Rock, who could probably do some comedy, but he's just not quite Chris Rock. Megan Good got a sister that can never just quite Megan Good it.
Megan Good is now 43 years old. Her first film was in the hit movie Friday as a young teenager with a small role. Ever since then, she's been the breadwinner in her family, growing up in the Hollywood industry. Now,
I thought her first role was Eve's Bayou, which she did have a major role in it. And I'm going to tell you, that shit creeped me out. That was some awkward. Yeah.
is beautiful, but she's always had trouble in relationships. And that caused.
No, she didn't. She's just a divorced woman. Like a woman who always had, like, she didn't have trouble when she was married. Trouble happened at the end of the marriage. That's not like always trouble. A woman who always had trouble in a relationship would be more the lines of like Vivica Fox.
Caused her to get married at age 31 to Devon Franklin. Unfortunately for her, that didn't work out. She actually got dumped. And then she was 41, looking hella good with no man. And obviously that brought in Jonathan Majors, who was dusty as hell, has all kind of problems.
Shit like this. Now his platform is much bigger than mine, but I don't give a fuck. You will always get that smoke from me as long as you keep coming at people like Jonathan Majors on some fucking jealous nigga shit. Eve's Bayou is the name of the movie. It's a good movie.
Been beating up people for years, white women in particular. And then Jonathan Majors.
See how he just throws out blanket accusations? Been beating up people for years. Who has he beaten up? He didn't even beat up this bitch in question.
Majors is also down bad at the same time. And so once Grace Jabari basically got his ass locked up and banned from Hollywood, Megan Good was also down bad because she was dumped and nobody wanted to deal with her ass either. So why don't the rejects just come together and then get married? And that's exactly what has happened.
Yeah. Now they rejects. This nigga, I swear.
Let's stop the show. Rewind. Jonathan Majors is now back in controversy because of a leaked audio of Grace Jabari, of which he allegedly choked her.
So at what point is somebody going to step in and be like, okay, eyebrows, what do we have going on actually, eyebrows? Like, are you okay, eyebrows? In a newly
Yeah, she okay because she not you, bitch. Ever notice that they never do that when black women are with white men? They never say like, are you okay? So if you don't shut your ugly ass up.
heard audio. Jonathan Majors has admitted to strangling his ex-girlfriend. Okay. My thing is, and walk with me for a second, a zebra never changes its stripes. It may be outside with a...
Why do they all have a Cynthia G accent? These are some fucking nasty ass bitches. And this is supposed to be my sister. See, hit the like button.
Giraffe doing giraffe-like things. It may frolic with an elephant and do things that look reminiscent of an elephant, but at the end of the day, it's gonna always be a zebra. I say all of that to say this.
It's zebra, you obnoxious bitch. She called it that just to fuck with me because she know I already don't like her.
There are some situations where you're not supposed to sit around and see if the person has actually changed. There are some situations where you're not supposed to sit around and be like, me, I'll go first, volunteer me to see if the therapy worked for him. There are some situations where you're supposed to be like, oh, that's a red flag, and run the other way. Which brings us back to eyebrows. Why do you want to sit around and see if it was actually her in the relationship? Why do you want to sit around and see again if the therapy worked? Why was the public court case that we all saw not enough? And then you're there, you got a ring on the finger, so assumably you know more than us, and it's like, why?
Yeah, that's more than what you got. That's more than what you got, you useless librarian looking bitch.
Are you sitting there, girl? Eyebrows, wake up. Eyebrows, like, I aggressed you, to which the ex-girlfriend says, you strangled me and pushed me against.
Jonathan Majors admitted to strangling. Okay, let's see. I aggressed you, Majors. You strangled me and pushed me against the car. Ooh. Yes, all those things are under aggressed. Yeah. Yes. That's what he did. That's what he did. And you know what she said? Give me some more. And she said it by continuing the relationship. She continued the relationship until she was chasing his BBC ass down the street. Until she was chasing him down the street for some more BBC. She continued that relationship because she liked it. And Megan Good is probably getting strangled the fuck up right now. Deal with it. You nasty, obnoxious bitch. You wish that he was strangling you. Just like O'Shea wish he was strangling Megan Good. Fucking cackle of haters, all of them.
the card. To which Jonathan Majors then replies, yes, all of those things are under arrest.
Yeah.
That's who you want to stick beside, Megan? Like, eyebrows, is you cool, or did you think we was stupid? Did you think that you was going to go on your little press tour and show off your ring, and then we wasn't going to say...
She's rich and beautiful and you ain't. Shut the fuck up. She's married and you ain't. Shut the fuck up. Everything that you are and will ever be will always be less than her. Each and every single man that fucks you would rather have been fucking her. Shut the entire fuck up, you nasty, obnoxious, funny-shaped bitch.
Much about this. Your man is outside choking ex-girlfriends and admitting to it on audio.
And people have mixed
You damn
opinions.
right.
Yeah, Jonathan Majors just
I'm on audio, and yes, I choked a few bitches. That's how I live. His only thing was apologizing for it. They don't even have the context of the whole conversation. She probably was talking about how much she liked it, and he felt guilty because society teaches him to feel guilty about it. It's two consenting adults. It's two consenting adults. I'm going to say it 3 times like Dr. Umar. It's two consenting adults. I don't give a fuck what Diddy is doing with a bunch of baby oil as long as he's doing it with a consenting adult.
done when it comes to the black community, because we who better to attack us than us, right? Who better to hold us
who better to
accountable
attack us than
us, I
O'Shea?
guess. You know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna continuously hold this man accountable until he just falls off the damn planet. Because at this point, we're bringing up shit that happened a year or two ago. Like, why are we still bringing this up shit up as if it's brand new news? Because an audio, and we know how it work, because an audio came out where supposedly, allegedly, Jonathan is saying that he aggressed somebody who like that, but maybe Jonathan, because he's Shakespearean and shit. So he aggressed somebody, and the girl talking about, oh well, you strangled me. This is it. Like, first ask the right question. Why was this shit being recorded?
And then you have folks who are against him.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but not every Black man that is accused of abuse of any kind by a white woman is a victim of white woman tears. Jonathan Majors was charged, I believe, last year for attacking his girlfriend at the time, and she had...
The uglier the bitch, the more they dislike Jonathan Majors. And the uglier the bitch nigga. But we're not even gonna talk about that.
To be a white woman, and immediately people were rallying behind him and saying, like, it's just a white woman trying to bring a Black man down and whatever. And that's not to say that doesn't happen, but the way that people were trying to frame him as if he was Emmett Till, he got some Perseverance Award. He got this cover story for the Hollywood Reporter where they were talking about his life after dealing with that as if he was a victim of something. He was convicted. There was evidence, and now
he was convicted of third-degree assault. Y'all want to know what that is? And I gave Bernard this analogy. Third-degree assault is if I put a banana peel on the street because somebody can slip on it. That's third-degree assault.
there's even an audio where he's admitting to it.
I'm ashamed. I've never wrestled with a woman before. Again, it's just, I've never I aggressed. Like,
You stranded me and pushed me against the car.
All those things are under aggressed.
Yeah.
But what was interesting is like Megan Good's reasoning for why her last marriage failed.
Going through the divorce, that shook me to my core. I was just like, but Lord, you asked me to be celibate, and I was. You told me who to marry. I married that person. I try to do everything to the best of my ability, and no, I didn't do everything perfect. but I don't know that I could have done anything different if I'm being honest.
And what's interesting to me is Megan Good is back in a similar situation that she was.
This is not a similar situation. Shut your potato head ass up. This is not a similar situation.
Devon Franklin. Again, very beautiful, very attractive, very talented. This is a lady that has been the breadwinner in her family for years. So it's unlikely that she's going to see the world differently in a marriage. And that's probably what Megan Good's problem was at the beginning. She basically was supporting her family the whole time. So that's a level of strength and a level of masculinity that she needs. And so when she got with Devon Franklin, who was basically a simp, it was still too much for even him. Now she's with Jonathan Majors, a man who is down bad himself. And what we have figured out is allegedly Jonathan Majors is using her for money. And really,
only people that's alleging something like that is niggas like you. If you can look at Megan Good and think her only use is money, then you a damn fool. Fucking haters. I can't stand haters. Somebody asked a question that alluded to me being a hater. I had to politely say, no, that's not the case.
this is a good rebrand for him because, I mean, you know, he's been down bad. He's been losing out. And so where else is he going to go? You know, he's going to turn to the black woman to help his ass out because when he was up and he was doing good, he had the white woman. So this is a rebrand for him. He's rebranding those cheeks.
Ever wondered what your home looks like from space? Enter your address and get a 360-degree satellite view of your home.
No, I don't.
Right?
I guess.
I don't wonder what my home looked like from space. It looks like the top of my house. Like, what in the fuck? Don't advertise stupid shit. Like, unless somebody give me a satellite view of my house and I find out that it's a whole nother family living on top of the motherfucker, I don't care.
But at the end of the day, Megan Good doesn't take any accountability for why the first marriage didn't last.
Shut the
She don't
fuck
know
up.
if she could have did anything.
Oh, see, this man is so twisted that instead of he wants, ideally, for O'Shea, black men should suffer for getting with white women, and black men should be rewarded for sticking to black women. Neither of those things are true, and he can't wrap his mind around that. He can't. Black men are not rewarded for loyalty to black women. They are not. Nobody's gonna tap O'Shea on the shoulder and be like, "You've been loyal to black women for 40 plus years. Here's this beautiful black woman that you don't have to pay for. That's a millionaire." That's not going to happen. See, he feels that Megan Good should be a reward, because she is a reward, especially if she throws some eggs, is a reward to a black man who is deserving. And by his definition of deserving, who has remained loyal to black women. Fuck that. Fuck that. It doesn't work that way. And you know, it really peels his potato that that's not the way it works. That's why he goes so hard. He's constantly doing videos about Jonathan Majors and shit like that. When was the last time black women gave black men a fucking loyalty prize? Never. Never. How many black men could say that their loyalty is actually rewarded ever? Fuck that.
Different. God sent her this person. Well, just like God sent you allegedly Jonathan Majors. And that's the issue with a lot of these celebrity people who all of a sudden, the God sent me this, but then God wants y'all to get divorced. So God sent me Jonathan Majors after he done whooped the white woman's ass. And then guess what? You don't have no accountability there either. So it's not going to work because she never changed. So instead of working on that, you went right back and got into a relationship with a young man who didn't have anything going. They got anger issues, and we don't think he's going to whoop your ass. But again, it's not going to work out because I'm going to tell you why. Megan Good is going to be the lead, right? And I'm going to tell you like this. Any man that's out there will tell you, you can be the woman that wants to call all the shots, and she has the money right now. But Jonathan Majors has had that taste of being that guy at the top. He might not never get it again, but he knows what that's like. He knows what it's like to get that deal and to work with Marvel and to have all that. Because if he had all of that, he would not be dealing with your ass.
Well, I mean, she knows what it's like to work with DC. So yeah, that's a thing.
Okay? And if he's ever to get that again, Megan Good, he is gone. Bye-bye. The reality is being fine, being 43, and not understanding how men work is going to get a lot of ladies like Megan Good paying for the D. That's all.
Megan Good understands exactly how men's work. She may not understand, weird ass niggas like Devon Franklin. Okay, put it like this. Take Vivica Fox, for example. What does she understand about men that Megan Good don't? You see, Megan Good values men. Vivica Fox, Claudia Jordan, Jessie Wu, all of these bitches. She has the leg up on all of these bitches and the leg open for decent brothers, or at least those who appear to be so.
All Megan Good is doing now. Allegedly, this dude, he has a kid, Jonathan Majors. She's paying for the tuition. And
I didn't know he had a kid.
He's been using her for money, doing all of these things.
I know Jonathan Majors had a kid. Let me see. Okay, he has a daughter. Didn't know that. He has a daughter who is mixed race, as 23-year-old. Okay. That actually is good for him, because if anything would have broken these two apart would be her possible diminished ability to give him children. But if he has all the kids that he wants, then yeah. Then they could. I mean, if I had all the kids that I want, I would be elated. Really, the only thing, well, that's not the only thing that's keeping me from marrying Megan Good, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, the only thing that would keep me from marrying a woman like Megan Good would be that I would prefer somebody I could have kids with. So yeah. Yeah. But at 10 years old, he's not paying her tuition. She's not paying the tuition.
Hey, once he get back up, or if he's able to get back up, he's not gonna be dealing with her. And now that you're 43 years old, Megan, like I said, she looks good, but it's not the same thing as 23-year-old Megan Good, and it's not because of the looks. The reality is, it's like, okay, you still look better than like 95% of the women out there, right?
This is true.
But it's like, okay, but you're not as malleable, okay? And remember, Marcus Houston use that particular argument, like, okay,
just because most 43-year-old women are not malleable doesn't mean that Megan Good isn't. And malleable really means that you can shape them into what you want them to be, which is a spectacular quality that you want in a woman. However, if a woman has already been manipulated into what you want to be, and when I say manipulate, I'm not talking about in the negative connotation that people tend to use the word where they use deception as a technique to manipulate them. I'm talking about, she's already have been molded into what you want them to be anyway, which would be the type of woman that can build you up when the world puts you down, while running her 10 miles a day. I don't see anything wrong with that. Like, put it like this. I wouldn't want Megan Good to be shit but what she is. And anybody who is trying to mold a 23-year-old, he's actually molding her into Megan Good. That's what everybody molds their fucking 20-something-year-olds to be when they're 43. Like, what the fuck? That's exactly what they would mold them to be. Simple bastard.
Okay, the reason why he went young with Maya Houston is because women who
he didn't do shit. I'm so pissed at O'Shea taking out on Marcus Houston. Let's see. Notice that he don't work with Tia Mowry either, because they're fucking weird ass twin bitches.
not as malleable. Okay, and remember Marcus Houston used that particular argument, like, okay, the reason why he went young with Maya Houston is because women who are a little bit older are not as flexible with being with a man that's a provider. And listen, we already know Jonathan Majors is insecure. He was damn near choking folks when he couldn't get his way. So Megan Good is about to crash out again because she just wants to be with somebody. This is her best opportunity. And hey, it ain't nobody else coming through that door. I'll be honest, the way that she is right now, she's right. Nobody wants to deal with somebody who's out.
You do, nigga. He gets on my fucking nerves.
Unaccountable and don't want to accept why your husband left you. How in the hell did Devon Franklin leave you? He filed for divorce for her. Want to know why? You don't listen. You're not showing man no respect. And Jonathan Majors is the guy.
No, you don't know why. You don't know why because she has class enough not to tell people why. And the reason is, one of the reasons why, because she has the class, unlike Tia Mowry, she has class enough to keep personal business personal. But another reason why is probably because she doesn't know. She don't know why this nigga just woke up one day and decided to break his vows before God, the one he claims to have dedicated himself to serve. We don't know why. He just did. Because he's probably a weird ass nigga.
Right now, they got to deal with somebody like that because he ain't got no money. He's down bad. So, okay, let's pick him. Okay, he's young. He's in shape. I got me somebody that's relevant. And, so he's okay for now. But you haven't fixed.
We're Phoenix Energy, a family-owned oil company focused on unleashing American oil from North Dakota and
extra issues. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of ladies out here, and I keep saying this a lot of professional ladies that look good, I don't care what you look like, because they're not going to matter. Because you can lose out to a lady that look a lot worse than you, who got some sense, okay? Not saying you don't got no sense, but that's what I'm just saying in general. If you don't understand how to put effort into what a man needs as a mate, it's not going to matter how good you look. Look at...
Now he's just insisting that Megan Good did something wrong. We don't know who was wrong in this situation.
Grace Jabari. Now, I know they broke up, but Grace Jabari, nobody would ever consider Grace Jabari over Megan Good at all. Like, it's hard to pick her, but that's what he wanted, okay? A lot of black men go that route because they be feeling like, oh, well, I can't really be the man I want to be with a talented sister. And Megan Good, this relationship.
Maybe he was with Grace Jabari because the women that look like Megan Good wasn't checking for him until Megan Good actually checked for him. I think that if he met Megan Good before he met Grace Shabari, he would definitely have taken Megan Good. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Megan Good wasn't the chick on the phone. Because the whole thing started because, he was texting some other chick on the phone. I wouldn't be surprised if that was Megan Good, which means that he was with somebody else. He was with Megan Good while he was with Ray Shabari because he was looking for an exit.
It's not going to work.
Somebody said, why does Megan Good's tits look sad? Yeah, I noticed that. I did notice some sagginess in her titties, like right here. And I don't know if it's her shirt or what, but that is not a good display of her titties. I wasn't going to say nothing because that's not what this is about. But yeah, I did notice that.
Relationship is not going to work out. I feel like it's just as dusty. I don't feel like he worked on himself and she ain't worked on herself because she don't feel like nothing she did.
Now, years ago, I actually seen her titties. The cloud, what have you, the cloud, somebody hacked the cloud, got a bunch of tit pics, and the only ones I really wanted to see were hers. Somebody's like, oh, they got Keke Palmer, and they got the white girl that plays Penny on Big Bang Theory, and they got Gabrielle Union. I didn't want to see any of those 6 titties but Megan's, and Megan's were good. Now, a lot can change between then and then. I think that was like 10 years ago, but either that's a bad shirt or her titties have changed in a negative way. It's not my business. It's Jonathan Major's business. It's not yours either.
From the last relationship was wrong. And that's running down the wrong situation toward getting your ass divorced. And once it happens, I'm going to be right here to cover the damn story. But like I told you so.
Hating ass niggas.
Together. I know you want to get money, but you better work on that. Work on those relationship skills to what you're going to give to a man.
You're too fat and old. Don't be like a butler and stuff like that. All right.
Because other than that, you're going to end up cashing out. I know you don't want to cash out. There's so many women that's beautiful cashing out. Look at Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer is cashing out already at like not even 31. Already cashing out. Already taking care of dudes. And a lot of these ladies are already used to always taking care of people. So this is not new to them. So if you don't have that energy, and I get it because they've been, having to be like this their whole life. But yeah, cash out. So guys, we think it's your boy O'Shea D. Jackson back at it again. Another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.
All right. So that was a segue off the generational wealth thing. I don't like that he did that. I'm glad that I responded the way I did. I can't stand. I really cannot stand when he come at people like Jonathan Majors. And that's black people fucking problem. Niggas like O'Shea. Where they see when you're down, that's when they try to attack. I'm not even going to mention how he tried to do that shit with me. But they try to kick you while you're down. They look at that as an opportunity. They smile in your face. All the time they want to take your place. The backstabbers. That's what he do. Everything is good until he sees an opportunity to take you down. Same with most black people. And that's another reason why there aren't black businesses like that. Because, you open up a restaurant or something like that, they'll support you only because they see other people supporting you. But once they see an opportunity, like there's some type of trumped up boycott or something going on, then they're like, oh yeah, I could take you down now. And it be over like the littlest, stupidest shit ever. Because that's what they know how to do. They just know how to destroy shit. Take the movie Do the Right Thing. Dude, there's a pizza shop in the neighborhood. You know, he likes the pizza. He sits there and eats the pizza every day. And then one day he just looks at the wall and notices that there's no brothers. There's no black men on the wall of an Italian pizza joint. And then he's like, we're going to get some brothers on the wall. And then it ended with them burning down the shop. You could open up your own shop. Like he even suggested, why don't you open up your own shop and put anybody on the wall you want? But he used it as a rallying point. And then he came across the other dude who's mad that he can't blast his music inside of the establishment, just messing with everybody else's, you know, nobody want to hear that crap. But to them, it seems just. That's nigga mentality. Look for opportunities to take somebody else down and take them down, because we have a scarcity mindset been brought on by our history in this country. We have a scarcity mindset, meaning that the only way you can get something is if you take it from someone else. And if you already have a lot, the only way you could keep it is to make sure that somebody else doesn't take it from you. So we have that mentality. Same with O'Shea in this situation. He has that mentality. He has it towards Devon Franklin. Like, you know, the only way I can get a woman like Megan Good is to convince her that Jonathan Majors ain't shit. So I am going to do so. And the women are on the same thing with Megan Good. You know, they both were talking to Megan Good. They both wanted to convince Megan Good to leave Jonathan Majors, because the only way she can get with somebody like Jonathan Majors is if, you know, he turns down Megan Good and somehow finds his dick in your pussy. That's not going to happen either. So yeah, get over it. Get out of other people's lives. Great commentary from the you know, main event on this channel. But yeah, I want to thank everybody that participated. Let me just check the thing right quick. Let me just check my Gmail account. Make sure y'all hitting that like button. See, it's a good thing I checked it. So I have a Cash App here. It is from Nanga. Nanga, I greatly appreciate you, brother. Thanks for your support. And let's see. Oh, you sent another one on the 19th. My bad. So yeah, you sent one. What's today? The 21st. You sent one 2 days ago. Oh no, I counted that one. I remember I counted that one on there. But yeah. All right. So yeah, I want to thank everybody. Thanks for the Cash App. I want to thank everybody that participated. I want to thank the members and the moderators. And this is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.